Salam, my name is temesgen, which in Amharic, Ethiopian language, one of the many Ethiopian languages, it means praise the Lord. And one of the ways to praise the Lord is by playing this magnificent instrument, the Begena. And so together we're going to learn how to play the Begena here. But before we start, let's take a look at the history of the Begena.
The Begena is an ancient instrument that many Ethiopians believe is a direct descendant of the kinnor or harp referred to in Genesis chapter 4, verse 21. A popular legend in the Kabra Negast, the Ethiopian book of the Glory of Kings, tells us that around 950 BC, Menelik I, the son of the Ethiopian queen Sheba or Magda, and King Solomon, brought the Begena from Israel to Ethiopia. In fact, it is believed that this was the very same harp that his famous grandfather, King David, played to soothe King Saul. For this reason, the Begena is also known as King David's harp.
Some others believe that the Begena is an entirely Ethiopian instrument and that it was never imported. The Begena is also known as Inzira in the Gi'iz language. Gi'iz is the father of some of Ethiopia's languages like Amharic and Tigrinya, just like Latin is the father of some European languages like English and French and Spanish and Italian. At any rate, what's amazing about this instrument is that it's one of the oldest instruments and it's still part of living tradition today. So when you hold this instrument and you play it and you sing these songs, keep in mind that you're connected to a human tradition that's been passed down for thousands of years.
The Begena was primarily used in prayer and meditation, often in solitude. It is believed that the stark, droning sounds of the thick strings created an atmosphere of peace and quiet, freeing the mind to turn inwards to examine the soul. One may compose one's own texts, or the texts may be taken from the Bible, from the book of Proverbs, or from the book of Kene, an anthology of proverbs and love poems. The subject matter includes the futility of life, the inevitability of death, saints, traditions, morality, prayer, and praises to God.
There have been many great Begena masters and also great people who have played the Begena in Ethiopian history.
Emperor Theodros, Emperor Menelik, and Haile Selassie played the Begena. Then we have the great masters of the instrument, like Alamoaga and Alamayo Fanta.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you about how the Begena is constructed. And most of the frame is made out of wood. These three pieces are wooden pieces, and then inside this sound box are wooden pieces as well, the frame of the sound box. These two vertical wooden pieces are called the misasso, which means the support, and it's what supports the farmer's hut. And this horizontal piece is called the kambar, and that means the yoke, which is what's put on the shoulders of the oxen that pull the plow. And so this is sitting on top of these two. And these 10 pieces here, the tuners, are called the makanya, and there are 10 of them, one for each string. So again, we have the Misassos, misasso, and kambar, and makanya. The plural for the word makanya is makanyaoch. So there's one makanya and 10 makanyaoch. Now the strings are called autar, and autar is the Amharic word for string. And here we have the bridge, and that bridge is called, the word for it is the word to lean on, and that's called birkuma. And then there are leather strips here between between each string and the bridge, and those are called kurutraj kodaoch. And those two words, kurutraj means strips, and kodaoch means leather pieces. Koda is one leather piece, and kodaoch is the plural. Now the strings are tied to this piece of wood here, and that's what stretches the strings, and it's called mawatara, which means stretcher. Mawatara. So it stretches the strings. And then the sound box is covered with a koda, which is leather. And on the back, each leather piece here is sewn, as you can see here. And on every Begena, there's the symbol of the cross. And those are the parts of the Begena.
It is also instructional to consider the spiritual significance of the parts of the Begena as laid down by tradition. The misasso on the right represents Saint Michael, or the Old Testament. The misasso on the left represents Saint Gabriel, or the New Testament. The kanba, or the top post, represents God, or the love of God. The bottom of the sound box represents the lack of love. We are taught that the 10 strings represent the 10 commandments that can take a believer from the lack of love to the love of God.